The conference room went silent when I walked in. I watched Min-jae's face drain of color. His mouth opened slightly like he wanted to say something, but forgot how words worked. The other board members looked confused, glancing between their CEO and me, this black woman in a tailored navy suit who just sat down at the head of their table. I set my leather portfolio down slowly. Let the moment breathe. Let him suffer in it. 4 years ago, I left this building in tears, my dignity in pieces, my heart shattered. Today, I owned 42% of Lee Enterprises, more than anyone else in this room, more than the man who thought I wasn't good enough to stand beside him. I am Bridget Coleman, and I came back as his boss. Min-jae stood frozen near the window. He was still handsome, I'd give him that. Tall, sharp jawline, that perfectly styled black hair, designer suit that probably cost more than my first car. But I saw past all that now. I saw the coward who let his mother's racism dictate his life. The man who chose comfort over courage. The head of legal cleared his throat. Old man named Park. He adjusted his glasses and looked at the documents in front of him like they might explode. "Ms. Coleman," he said carefully, "we weren't expecting you to attend this meeting personally. I own 42% of this company, Mr. Park. Where else would I be?" Min-jae finally found his voice. "Bridget, I mean Ms. Coleman, this is unexpected. Perhaps we could speak privately first before." "No." One word, cold as winter. His face did something complicated. Pain mixed with shock mixed with something that looked like hope. I killed that hope with my next sentence. "I'm here to discuss the restructuring proposal. Shall we begin?" The meeting lasted 2 hours. I watched Min-jae try to maintain his composure while I systematically questioned every decision he'd made in the last quarter. His profit margins were weak. His expansion into Southeast Asia was poorly planned. His leadership team had 3 dead weights I identified within 30 minutes of reviewing the files. I wasn't cruel, I was professional, which somehow felt worse for him. He kept trying to catch my eye. I looked through him like glass. When the meeting ended, everyone filed out quickly. They sensed the tension. The history. Min-jae lingered, obviously wanting to talk. I gathered my things slowly, made him wait, then walked toward the door without a word. "Bridget, please." I stopped, didn't turn around. "It's Ms. Coleman in this building, Mr. Lee. Let's keep things professional." 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking. You're asking for 5 minutes now. 4 years ago, I would have given you a lifetime. Funny how things change. I walked out, left him standing there. It felt powerful. It felt right. It felt like the beginning of something he was going to regret for the rest of his life. The elevator doors closed on his face. I watched the numbers descend. 37th floor, 36th, 35th. Each number is a small victory. Each floor has more distance between who I used to be and who I'd become. My driver was waiting outside. A young guy named Junho. He opened the door without a word, knew better than to ask questions. I paid him well for his discretion. "Where to, Ms. Coleman?" "The Shilla. I have a lunch meeting." Seoul traffic was terrible as always. I didn't mind. Gave me time to think, to process. Seeing Min-jae's face had stirred something I thought was long dead. Not love, not even anger anymore. Just this cold satisfaction that justice existed after all. My phone buzzed. Text from my assistant Claire. "Mr. Lee's office called 3 times. Wants to schedule a private meeting. What should I tell them?" I typed back quickly. "Tell them Ms. Coleman's schedule is full for the foreseeable future." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. He called personally for the 3rd time, sounded desperate. Not my problem. I put the phone away, looked out at the city I'd once called home. Seoul has changed in 4 years, new buildings, new shops, but some things stayed the same. The Han River still cuts through the city like a scar. The mountains still watched over everything. And apparently some men still thought their regrets were more important than your peace. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this story, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We post stories like this every week that will keep you hooked from start to finish. Now back to the story. 4 years ago, I was a different person. I remember the first night clearly. I was working late again, finishing a market analysis report that Min-jae needed for a presentation in Tokyo. The office was empty except for the cleaning crew and me. I didn't mind. I loved my job. I loved feeling useful. I loved being good at something. Min-jae came out of his office around 10 p.m., loosened tie, sleeves rolled up. He looked surprised to see me still there. "Ms. Coleman, you're still here." "Almost done with the Tokyo report, sir. I'll have it on your desk by midnight." He walked closer. I looked at my screen, nodded slowly. "You don't have to call me sir when we're alone. Min-jae is fine." Something in his voice was different, softer. I looked up at him and our eyes met and I felt it. That spark people talk about in romance novels, that stupid, dangerous spark. "The report looks good," he said. "You have a talent for this." "Thank you." "Have you eaten?" The question surprised me. "Not yet." "There's a 24-hour Korean place 2 blocks away. Nothing fancy, but the food is honest. Join me." I should have said no. Should have kept the boundary between boss and employee clear and solid. But I was 26, lonely in a foreign country, and he was looking at me like I mattered. "Okay, let me save this first." That dinner changed everything. We talked for 3 hours. He told me about the pressure of running his father's company, the expectations, the weight of a family name that went back 4 generations in Korean business. I told him about growing up in Atlanta, about my mother who cleaned houses to put me through college, about feeling invisible in corporate spaces where I was usually the only black woman in the room. He listened, really listened, not the polite nodding that people do while waiting for their turn to talk. He asked questions, remembered details. It made me feel seen in a way I hadn't felt since moving to Seoul. "You're different than I expected," he said over his 3rd soju. "What did you expect?" "I don't know, something more guarded, I guess. You're warm. Open, it's refreshing." "Should I be more guarded?" He smiled, sad almost. "Probably. This city can be cold, especially to people who don't fit the mold." "And I don't fit the mold." "No, but maybe that's not a bad thing." We started meeting like that regularly. Late dinners after work, coffee on Sunday mornings, long walks along the Han River. It was secret at first, not because we planned it that way, but because it felt private, special, something just for us. The first time he kissed me, we were in his apartment. I cooked dinner, nothing fancy, just pasta and salad. He said it was the best meal he'd had in months. We were doing dishes together and he turned to me suddenly and just kissed me, soft, tentative, like he was asking permission even though his lips were already on mine. I kissed him back. God, I kissed him back like I'd been waiting my whole life for that moment. "I've wanted to do that for weeks," he whispered. "So have I." "This is complicated. You know that, right?" "I know. My family, the company, there are things I can't just..." I put my finger on his lips. "Let's just be us right now. We'll figure out the rest later." But later came faster than either of us expected. 6 months into our relationship, we were still hiding. I'd sleep over at his place, cook breakfast, play house like we were a normal couple, but in public, at work, we barely acknowledged each other. It was eating at me. I wanted to hold his hand on the street, kiss him goodbye in the parking garage, be seen with him. "Soon," he kept saying. "I just need to handle a few things first." I believed him. I was stupid enough to believe him. I started doing more, thinking if I just proved myself enough, if I just fit in enough, his family would accept me. I took Korean language classes 3 times a week, studied until my head hurt, learned to make his favorite dishes. Kimchi jjigae, bulgogi, japchae. Spent my Sundays in his grandmother's kitchen, learning recipes that had been passed down for generations. His grandmother was kind to me. She'd pat my hand and speak slowly so I could understand. Tell me stories about Min-jae as a boy. Show me old photos. Sometimes I caught her looking at me with this sad expression, like she knew something I didn't. Like she was watching a tragedy unfold and couldn't stop it. "You're a good girl," she told me once in broken English. "But this world is not kind. You understand." I didn't understand. Not then. I threw myself into being perfect. Perfect employee, perfect girlfriend, perfect guest at family dinners where his mother looked through me like I didn't exist. I told myself it would get better, that love conquered all, that Min-jae would eventually stand up for us. I was so naive. Then his mother found out about us, not just suspicions but proof. I never learned how. Maybe one of his cousins saw us. Maybe someone from work noticed the way he looked at me during meetings. Maybe his mother hired someone to follow him. Doesn't matter. She found out and everything exploded. She came to the office on a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were when we had our weekly team meetings. I was at my desk, reviewing presentation notes when I felt her presence. You know how sometimes you can feel when someone is staring at you with pure hatred? It was like that. I looked up. She was standing over me in a Chanel suit that probably cost more than 6 months of my salary. Her face was composed, but her eyes were burning with rage. "You need to leave my son alone." People around us stopped typing, stopped talking. The office went quiet in that horrible way where everyone's listening but pretending not to. I stood up slowly. I tried to keep my voice steady. I tried to maintain some dignity. "I'm sorry, who are you?" "Don't play stupid with me. I know what you're doing. I know what you are." "This isn't the place for this conversation." "There is no conversation. You will end this whatever it is with Min-jae. You will leave this company, and you will stay away from my family." My hands were shaking. I gripped the edge of my desk. "That's not your decision to make." She laughed, sharp and cruel. "You think you have a choice here. You think my son will choose you. A black girl with no family, no connections, no name. You're a distraction, a phase, and you're over." The words hit like physical blows. I felt my coworkers staring. Some looked sympathetic, most looked uncomfortable. A few looked satisfied, like they'd been waiting for this moment, waiting for me to be put in my place. "You're a smart girl," she continued. "Smart enough to work here, so be smart enough to know when you're beaten. Take your dignity and leave before I take that too." I wanted to say something strong, something powerful, something that would cut her down the way she was cutting me. But my throat closed up and my eyes burned, and all I could do was stand there while she destroyed me in front of my colleagues. Min-jae appeared then, rushed over, took his mother's arm. "Mother, stop, not here." "Tell her, Min-jae, tell her this ends now." He looked at me, and in that look I saw everything I needed to know. He wasn't going to fight for me, not against her, not against his family, not against the expectations of a society that saw me as less than. "We'll discuss this at home," he told his mother. Then to me, quietly, almost kindly, "Can we talk later?" "No." "Bridget, please." "No." I grabbed my bag. I walked toward the elevator, heard his mother say something about good riddance. I heard him say nothing in my defense. I heard the whispers starting already, the gossip, the speculation. The elevator ride down felt endless. 37 floors of shame, 37 floors of humiliation. By the time I reached the lobby, I was crying, ugly crying, the kind where you can't breathe and your whole body shakes. The security guard, an older man named Mr. Kim, saw me. I looked concerned. "Ms. Coleman, are you all right?" "I'm fine." "You don't look fine." "I just need to go home." He nodded, didn't push, just called me a taxi and waited with me until it arrived. His kindness made me cry harder. That night Min-jae called 17 times. I ignored every call, every text, every email. I sat in my tiny apartment and felt my world collapse. This job was everything. I'd moved across the world for it, left my mother, my friends, everything is familiar. And now it is gone, because I'd been stupid enough to fall in love with my boss, stupid enough to think I could be the exception. The next day he came to my apartment, early morning. I was still in my pajamas, eyes swollen from crying, hair a mess. I looked through the peephole and saw him standing there looking desperate. I let him in. I don't know why. Maybe because I still hoped. Maybe because I needed to hear him say it. I needed confirmation that I was right to feel destroyed. "I'm sorry about my mother. She was out of line." "And you said nothing." "What did you want me to do? Make a scene in front of the whole office?" I wanted you to defend me. I wanted you to tell her she was wrong. I wanted you to choose me." He ran his hand through his hair, frustrated, like I was being unreasonable, like I was the problem. "It's not that simple, Bridget." "It is that simple. Either you love me or you don't. Either you want to be with me or you don't." "I do love you, but I have responsibilities. The company, my family's reputation. There are things you don't understand about Korean culture, about expectations. Don't hide behind culture. This is about courage, and you don't have it." That hit him. I saw it land, saw him absorb the accusation, but it didn't change anything, didn't make him braver. "I'm getting married," he said finally. The world stopped. Everything went quiet. I heard the words, but they didn't make sense. Couldn't make sense. "You're what?" "Her name is Yuna. Our families have known each other forever. It was arranged years ago. I tried to delay it, but my father is sick and he wants to see me settled, and I can't refuse him. I can't disappoint him like that. And me, what am I? You're someone I care about deeply, someone I'll never forget. But not someone you'll fight for." Silence, that long, terrible silence that answered everything. That told me exactly where I stood. That confirmed every insecurity I'd ever had about not being enough. "I gave you everything," I whispered. My voice was breaking. My whole self was breaking. "I changed my schedule for you, learned to cook your favorite foods, studied Korean so I could talk to your grandmother. I made myself smaller so I could fit into your life. I ignored the way your mother looked at me, ignored the whispers at work, ignored every red flag because I thought love was supposed to be hard. I thought if I just tried hard enough, you'd choose me, and it still wasn't enough." "Bridget." "No, I'm done. I'm done sacrificing pieces of myself for someone who won't even claim me in public. I quit. The job, this relationship, all of it. Please don't do this. Don't throw away your career because of." "Because of what? Because of us. There is no us. There never really was there? I was just something you did in private, something shameful you had to hide." "That's not fair." "Fair? You want to talk about fair? I gave you my heart and you're giving me away like I'm nothing. Like these 6 months meant nothing. Like I mean nothing." Tears were running down his face now. "You mean everything. That's what makes this so hard." "If I meant everything, you'd fight. You'd stand up to your mother. You'd tell your family that I'm who you choose, but you won't, because I don't mean everything, I mean something, and something isn't enough." "I'm sorry. I'll be gone by the end of the week. Don't contact me again." "Bridget, please. Get out." He left. I collapsed on the floor, cried until I had nothing left, cried until my body ached, cried until I felt hollowed out and empty. I kept that promise. I was gone by the end of the week. Gave my 2 weeks' notice by email. Didn't go back to the office. Couldn't face those people. Couldn't walk those halls where everyone knew I'd been dumped and humiliated. HR tried to do an exit interview. I refused. I just wanted out. I wanted to leave Korea and never look back. My mother wired me money for the plane ticket. I packed 2 suitcases, left everything else. The furniture, the kitchen stuff, the books. It didn't matter, I just wanted to go home. The flight back to Atlanta was a blur. I cried most of it. The woman next to me kept asking if I was okay. I lied and said yes. She didn't believe me, but she stopped asking. When I landed, my mother was waiting. She took one look at my face and knew. Didn't ask questions, just hugged me tight and drove me home. I spent 3 months on her couch, eating ice cream, watching terrible reality TV, sleeping 16 hours a day. My mother let me be, brought me food, sat with me sometimes, didn't push, just wait. One day she said, "Baby, you can't live like this forever." I know. That man broke your heart, but you can't let him break your spirit. I gave him everything, Mama, everything, and it wasn't enough. Then he's a fool, but you knew that already. The question is, what are you going to do about it? What can I do? You can get up. You can rebuild. You can show him and everyone else that you're more than what happened to you. I don't know if I can. Yes, you do. You're my daughter, you're strong. You just forgot for a while. Something in her words woke me up, got me angry, not at her, At myself, at Min-jae, at the situation, at the injustice of it all. I'd spent 6 months making myself smaller, sacrificing, adapting, trying to fit into a world that didn't want me. And for what? To be thrown away the second it got difficult, to be told I wasn't worth fighting for. No, never again. I got up off that couch, got a job, then a second job, then a third. I worked myself to exhaustion, saved every penny. I started reading everything I could about investments, market trends, financial planning, taught myself from library books and free online courses. I was smart, always had been. That's how I got the job in Korea in the first place. But now I had something else. Hunger, rage, purpose. I was going to build something so big that Min-jae would see it and know exactly what he gave up. Within 6 months, I'd saved $20,000, took half of it and started investing. Small at first. Index funds, blue chip stocks, nothing risky, just steady growth. I learned as I went. I made mistakes, lost money sometimes, but I learned from every failure. Within a year, I doubled my investment, then doubled it again. People started noticing, started asking for advice. I started a consulting business, helped other people invest their money, took a percentage of the profits, built a reputation. Within 2 years, I had 6 figures in the bank. Within 3, 7 figures. I was relentless. Didn't date. Didn't go out. Just worked and invested and grew my empire. And I never forgot Lee Enterprises. I watched that company like a hawk, tracked every stock movement, every quarterly report, every piece of news, studied their business model, their weaknesses, their opportunities, waited for the right moment. When Min-jae's marriage fell apart, I felt nothing. The news was everywhere in Korean business circles. His wife Yoona filed for divorce after 2 years, cited emotional abandonment. The scandal was messy, public. His reputation took a hit. Good. When Lee Enterprises started struggling, I paid attention. Bad investments in Chinese tech companies, a failed merger with a competitor, internal conflicts, stock prices dropping. I watched and waited and planned. Then I struck. I started buying shares, slowly, through different investment firms, different names, different countries, built my position carefully, quietly. Nobody noticed until I owned enough to matter, 42%, more than anyone else, more than his family, more than him. Then I announced my intention to take an active role in the company, demanded a board seat, demanded access to financials, demanded answers. That's when I came back to Seoul. 4 years later, I left in tears, came back powerful, wealthy, untouchable. Came back as his boss. The lunch meeting at the Shilla went well. A potential investor from Singapore. A smart woman named Linda Tan. She wanted to discuss a joint venture in Southeast Asian markets. We talked about strategy for 2 hours. She was impressed by my research, my projections, my understanding of regional dynamics. You really know this market, she said. I lived in Seoul for a while, learned a lot about Asian business culture. Bad experience. Why do you ask? The way your jaw tightens when you mention it, the way your voice goes cold. I smiled. You're perceptive. It's my job, so bad experience. Let's just say I learned valuable lessons about knowing your worth. She nodded, raised her glass. To valuable lessons then. To valuable lessons. We toasted, made plans to meet again the following week. She left first. I stayed, ordered another coffee, sat by the window watching the city. My phone buzzed, Claire again. Mr. Lee showed up at the office, asking for you. And security asked him to leave. He said he'd wait. Let him wait. I finished my coffee. I took my time, checked my emails, made a few calls. When I finally went back to the office 2 hours later, he was still there, sitting in the lobby, looking miserable. He stood when he saw me. Bridget. Mr. Lee, this is harassment. I just need 5 minutes, please. I've already given you my answer. No. I'm not asking for us. I'm asking about the company, about your plans, about... About whether I'm going to destroy you. Is that what you're worried about? He flinched. Yes. Good, you should be worried. I walked past him toward the elevators. He followed. I deserve your anger, I know that. But the company has thousands of employees, people who depend on those jobs, their families. Whatever I did to you, they don't deserve to suffer for it. I stopped, turned. You think I'd hurt innocent people to get back at you? I don't know. I don't know who you are anymore. That's the problem, Min-jae. You never knew who I was. You knew who you wanted me to be. Small, quiet, hidden, but that was never really me. I know I was wrong. I know I hurt you. I know I was a coward, but nothing. Your guilt isn't my problem. Your fear isn't my responsibility. You made choices. Now you live with them. So you are going to destroy the company. I didn't say that. I said your feelings don't dictate my business decisions. Lee Enterprises is struggling because of bad leadership, poor planning, failure to adapt. That has nothing to do with us. That's all on you. Then what are you going to do? Whatever I decide is best for my investment. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have work to do. I got in the elevator, pressed the button for my floor. He didn't follow, just stood there watching the doors close, looking lost. I felt nothing, not satisfied, no pity, nothing. That's when I knew I'd really moved on, when his pain stopped registering as anything meaningful. That weekend I treated myself, went to a spa in Gangnam, full day, massage, facial, mani-pedi, the works. I deserved it. I have been working non-stop since coming back to Seoul. I needed to decompress. The spa was one of those luxury places where everything was quiet and expensive, and they served you cucumber water in crystal glasses. I was in the relaxation room, wrapped in a plush robe, half asleep on a heated lounger, when I heard a familiar voice. Bridget Coleman. I opened my eyes. A Korean woman about my age was standing there. Stylish, pretty, looked vaguely familiar. I'm sorry, do I know you? Lee Yuna. Well, not Lee anymore. I went back to my maiden name after the divorce. Kim Yuna. Min-jae's ex-wife. I sat up. Oh. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb you. I just recognized you from the business news. You're everywhere these days. The woman who came back and took over Lee Enterprises. I didn't take over. I just invested. She smiled, a sad smile. Can I sit? Sure. She sat on the lounge next to mine. We were quiet for a moment. Awkward. What do you say to your ex-boyfriend's ex-wife? I know who you are, she said finally. I mean, I knew about you back then, during our marriage. Oh. He talked about you sometimes, in his sleep. Your name. He'd say your name and I'd lie there wondering who you were, what you meant to him. I didn't know what to say to that. I figured it out eventually. Found some old emails he never deleted, photos on an old phone, saw how he looked at you in company pictures. I'm sorry, I didn't know he was engaged when we... I know, he hid it from you, just like he hid you from me. That's who Min-jae is, a man who hides things. Why are you telling me this? She looked at me. Because I want you to know you weren't the problem. I spent 2 years thinking I was the problem, that I wasn't enough, wasn't what he wanted, but it wasn't about us. It was about him, his cowardice, his inability to stand up to his family. Did you love him? No, that was the worst part. I didn't love him and he didn't love me and we both knew it. But we went through with it anyway because that's what our families expected. And it was miserable, every single day. I'm sorry. Don't be. Leaving him was the best thing I ever did. I'm happy now. Dating someone I actually chose. Living my life on my terms. Good for you. My point is, you dodged a bullet. Min-jae is a good man in many ways, but he'll never be brave enough to really love someone. Not when it costs him something. Not when it requires him to stand up to his family. I know that now. Do you? Because I've seen the news. I've seen him trying to reach you. And I've seen that look on his face. The regret. And I just wanted to warn you, don't fall for it. Don't think he's changed. Men like Min-jae don't change. They just get better at hiding who they are. I have no intention of going back to him. Good. You deserve better, we both do. She stood, smiled. Enjoy your spa day, Bridget, and congratulations on your success. Seeing you come back powerful like this, it's inspiring. She left. I sat there thinking about her words, about Min-jae saying my name in his sleep, about two people trapped in a loveless marriage because neither was brave enough to walk away. I was glad I walked away, glad I chose myself. Whatever pain I went through, it was worth it to not be Yuna, trapped, miserable, living a lie. 3 weeks after returning to Seoul, I got an invitation to a business gala, one of those massive networking events where Korea's elite gathered to see and be seen. Usually I avoided these things. Too much small talk, too much posturing, but this one was important. Major investors would be there, potential partners. I needed to go. I bought a dress for the occasion. Red, bold, form-fitting but elegant, high neckline, long sleeves, nothing revealing but impossible to ignore. My stylist did my hair in a slicked-back bun, gold earrings, red lips. When I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. I looked powerful, untouchable, like a woman who could buy and sell companies before breakfast. The gala was at a 5-star hotel in Gangnam, massive ballroom, crystal chandeliers, wait staff circulating with champagne and hors d'oeuvres. I walked in alone, confidence. I didn't need anyone on my arm to prove my worth. People noticed. I felt eyes following me. Whispers. That's Bridget Coleman. That's the woman who took over Lee Enterprises. That's the American investor everyone's talking about. I grabbed a champagne flute, started working in the room. I talked to a venture capitalist from Hong Kong, a tech entrepreneur from Taiwan, the CEO of a major Korean conglomerate. Everyone wanted to know my plans, my strategy, my secrets. I was in the middle of a conversation about emerging markets when I felt him approach. Bridget. I turned. Min-jae was standing there in a tuxedo, looking better than he had in our previous encounters, but I'm still tired, still haunted. Mr. Lee. You look beautiful. Thank you. Can we talk privately? I looked at the people I'd been talking to. Excuse me for just a moment. I followed Min-jae to a quiet corner, away from the crowd, away from prying eyes and listening ears. What do you want? I just wanted to tell you something, before you hear it from someone else. What? I'm stepping down as CEO. That surprised me. What? The board is pushing me out. They've lost confidence in my leadership. Can't say I blame them. I've made a lot of mistakes. I'm sorry. Are you? You own 42% of the company. You could have stopped this. Why would I? You said it yourself. You made mistakes. Bad leadership, poor decisions. This is just business. Is it, or is this revenge? You really think I'd spend 4 years building myself up just to hurt you? You're not that important to me anymore, Min-jae. You're just another CEO who failed. Nothing personal. That landed hard. I saw him absorb it, saw the pain in his eyes, but I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, nothing. I know I hurt you, he said quietly. I know I was a coward, but I've had 4 years to regret every decision I made, 4 years to think about what I lost. And I've had 4 years to build a life you're not part of, so your regrets, not my problem. I think about you every day, about what could have been. Don't do that. Don't romanticize what we had. It wasn't some great love story. It was a lesson. You taught me what I wouldn't accept, what I wouldn't tolerate. You taught me my worth, so thank you for that. Bridget. Ms. Coleman, a voice interrupted. Smooth, confidence, American accent with a hint of something else underneath. I turned. A man was standing there. Tall, mixed race, maybe Taiwanese and white, sharp tuxedo, kind eyes, handsome in an understated way. I'm sorry to interrupt, he continued, but I believe we have a mutual friend, Linda Tan. She suggested I reach out to you about a potential partnership. I remembered Linda mentioning someone, a fellow investor. She'd said he was brilliant, trustworthy, someone I should meet. You must be Martin Chen. Guilty, and you're the famous Bridget Coleman. Linda's been singing your praises for weeks. Has she? Something about you being the smartest investor she's worked with in a decade. High praise from Linda. She doesn't impress easily. I smiled despite myself. She's being generous. I doubt that. His eyes flicked to Min-jae briefly, reading the tension. But I can see you're in the middle of something. Perhaps we could talk later. I'm here all evening. Actually, now is perfect. I looked at Min-jae. Mr. Lee was just leaving, weren't you? Min-jae's jaw tightened. He looked between Martin and me, seeing something he didn't like. Right, of course. Enjoy your evening, Ms. Coleman. He walked away. I watched him go. I felt nothing. I turned my attention to Martin. Sorry about that, old colleague. It looked like more than that. It was, past tense, ancient history. Fair enough. None of my business anyway. But I did want to talk to you about Linda's proposal. She said, you're looking at expansion into Southeast Asian markets. We talked for an hour, standing in that corner. Champagne in hand. He was smart. Funny, didn't try to impress me with his credentials or his family money, just talked to me like a peer, like an equal. It was refreshing. You're not what I expected, I said eventually. What did you expect? I don't know. Someone more arrogant, I guess. Most men in our industry are. He laughed. Trust me, I have my moments. But I learned a long time ago that arrogance is usually just fear in disguise. That's surprisingly insightful. I have my moments too, though they're rare. Usually I'm just winging it and hopping nobody notices. I laughed. It felt good, natural. When was the last time I'd laughed at a business event? Linda was right about you, Martin said. You're impressive. Not just your work, the way you carry yourself, the way you talk. You've been here an hour and you've networked more effectively than most people do in a full evening. Is that a compliment? Absolutely. I admire competence, and you're incredibly competent. Thank you. Would you be interested in discussing this partnership further? Maybe over lunch. I'm in Seoul for another week. What kind of lunch? The business kind. Spreadsheets and market analysis. Maybe some decent food if we're lucky. All right, have your assistant reach out to mine. We'll set something up. Perfect. We exchanged business cards. He had nice hands. I noticed that. Strong but elegant. The kind of hands that looked like they could build something or write something or hold something gently. I shook his hand. Professional, brief, but I felt it. That small spark. That sense of possibility. Enjoy the rest of your evening, Ms. Coleman. You too, Mr. Chen. I watched him walk away. Several women in the room noticed him too. He didn't seem to notice, just moved through the crowd with quiet confidence. Interesting. I spent another hour at the gala, made more connections, had more conversations, but my mind kept drifting back to Martin Chen, to the way he'd smiled, the way he'd looked at me with genuine interest instead of that calculating gaze most men had, like he saw me as a person, not a conquest or a stepping stone. As I was leaving, I saw Min-jae again. He was watching me from across the room, looking miserable. I felt nothing. No pity, not anger, not satisfied, just a vague awareness that he existed and I didn't care. That's when I knew I'd really moved on, not when I stopped loving him, but when his presence stopped affecting me at all. Lunch with Martin happened the following week. We met at a Korean barbecue place he suggested. Casual, comfortable, not one of those stuffy restaurants where people went to be seen. I hope this is okay, he said when I arrived. I know we could have done something fancier, but I figured we'd actually talk here instead of performing for whoever's watching. It's perfect. And it was. We talked for 3 hours, started with business, market trends, investment strategies, potential partnerships. He was brilliant at his job, had that rare combination of instinct and analysis that made him dangerous in negotiations. But somewhere in the middle of discussing Southeast Asian tech markets, the conversation shifted. Can I ask you something personal? He said. Depends on the question. That guy at the gala, the one you clearly wanted to avoid, ex-boyfriend. I put down my chopsticks, consider lying, decided against it. Ex-everything, ex-boyfriend, ex-boss, ex-mistake. One of those. One of those. Want to talk about it? Not particularly. Why? He shrugged. It looked uncomfortable. Just trying to understand the territory. I like you, Bridget, not just professionally, and I don't want to step on any landmines or make things weird. My stomach did something complicated. You like me. Is that surprising? A little. We barely know each other. I know you're brilliant, funny, driven. You don't take nonsense from anyone and you tip waiters generously. That's a pretty good foundation. I smiled despite my defenses trying to go up. That's a low bar. You'd be surprised how many people fail it. He leaned back, casual, relaxed. I'm not trying to pressure you, just putting my cards on the table. I'd like to take you to dinner. Actual dinner. Not business lunch pretending to be casual. Dinner where we talk about things that have nothing to do with profit margins or investment strategies. I studied him carefully, looked for the catch, the angle, the hidden expectation, found nothing but honest interest. I need to be clear about something. I'm listening. I don't move fast, I don't do it casually, and I don't sacrifice my boundaries for anyone, not anymore. Fair enough, what are your boundaries? I don't stay over, I don't do spontaneous things. I need clear communication and respect. And if at any point I say no to something, that's the end of the conversation. No negotiating, no pressure, no guilt trips. He nodded slowly. I can work with that, anything else? Yes, if you're looking for someone who will make you the center of their universe, I'm not her. I have a life, a career, goals that don't revolve around a relationship. I won't shrink myself to make space for you. Good, I don't want you to. Most men say that, they don't mean it. I'm not most men, he signaled for the check. Friday night, there's a new Ethiopian place in Gangnam, supposed to be incredible. Linda told me you like Ethiopian food. That made me laugh. You asked Linda what I like. Research, I'm thorough. That's either charming or creepy. I haven't decided which. Let me know on Friday. I did go to dinner Friday, and the next Friday, and the one after that. Martin was patient in a way that felt foreign to me. He didn't push, didn't pressure. When I said I needed to leave by 10, he called me at 9:45. When I said I wasn't ready for him to meet my friends, he didn't pout or guilt trip. Just said okay and asked about my week instead. It was confusing at first. I kept waiting for the catch, for the moment when his patience would run out and he'd demand more, for the pressure, the expectations, the inevitable disappointment when I didn't give him what he wanted. But it never came. 3 months into dating, we were at his apartment. He'd cooked dinner, nothing fancy but it was thoughtful, pasta with homemade sauce, salad, garlic bread. We were on the couch talking about a documentary we'd both watched when he kissed me. It was sweet, gentle, not demanding. When I pulled back after a moment, he didn't try to pull me closer, didn't look disappointed, just smiled. Sorry, he said, should have asked first. It's okay, I'm not ready for more than this. That's fine. Is it though? Really? Most guys would be frustrated by now. He touched my face softly. Careful. Bridget, I'm not dating you to get something from you. I'm not collecting milestones or checking boxes. I'm dating you because I enjoy who you are. If you're not ready for physical intimacy beyond kissing, we don't do physical intimacy beyond kissing. It's that simple. It's been 3 months. So most relationships move faster than this. Who says we have to be like most relationships? Who wrote that rule? I didn't have an answer. Look, he continued, I'm in no rush. You're worth the wait, however long it takes. I'm damaged goods, Martin. My last relationship destroyed me. I don't know if I'll ever be able to give someone everything again. I don't want everything. I just want honesty, respect. Your time when you can give it, that's enough for me. Why? Because real love isn't about consumption. It's not about taking everything someone has until they're empty. It's about growing together, building together, supporting each other. And that takes time, patience, mutual respect. Something in my chest cracked open. not in a painful way, in a way that lets light in. I'm scared, I admitted, of trusting someone again, of being vulnerable, of giving someone the power to hurt me. That's fair, I'd be worried if you weren't scared. It means you're being smart, protecting yourself, that's healthy. You're not like other men I've dated. I'll take that as a compliment. It is. He kissed me again, soft, sweet, and for the first time in 4 years, I felt safe enough to kiss him back without fear, without walls, without wondering when the other shoe would drop. Min-jae was falling apart. I heard it through business channels first. Lee Enterprises was struggling badly now. The board had forced him out as CEO. They'd brought in outside leadership, an American executive with a reputation for turning around failing companies. Min-jae was still on the board, but his power was gone. His influence was minimal. He was a figurehead now, a name on a letterhead. His personal life wasn't better. The divorce had cost him. Not just money, though that too. His reputation took a massive hit. People whispered about his failed marriage, his poor business decisions, his inability to lead. The Lee family name, once synonymous with excellence and power, was now associated with failure. I heard he was drinking, showing up late to meetings, missing important events. His assistant had quit. His mother was no longer speaking to him, something about him embarrassing the family. Part of me enjoyed hearing it, the petty part that still remembered being humiliated in front of my colleagues, the part that remembered his mother's cruel words, the part that remembered him choosing comfort over courage. But mostly I just felt nothing. He was someone I used to know, someone who made bad choices. His consequences weren't my problem. His pain wasn't my responsibility. He kept trying to reach me, though, emails that I deleted unread, phone calls that went straight to voicemail, showing up at events he knew I'd attend, always wanting to talk, to explain, to apologize, to beg for something I couldn't even identify. I never gave him the chance. Then he did something truly desperate. I was at my office, working late, when security called. "Ms. Coleman, there's Lee Min-jae here insisting he needs to speak with you, says it's urgent." I sighed. "Tell him I'm unavailable." "We did. He says he'll wait." "Then let him wait." I worked for another 3 hours, finished reviewing quarterly reports, made some calls, send emails. When I finally came downstairs at 11 p.m., he was still there, sitting in the lobby, looking wrecked. He stood when he saw me. "Bridget." "This is harassment, Mr. Lee. I just need 5 minutes. Please, I'm begging you." Something in his voice stopped me. Desperation, real desperation. I'd never heard him sound like that before. Against my better judgment, I nodded. 5 minutes. In the conference room, the door stays open. He followed me to a small conference room near the lobby. I didn't sit, didn't offer him a chair, just crossed my arms and waited. "Thank you for seeing me. You have 4 minutes left. I know you hate me, I know you have every right to, but I need you to know something. Everything that's happened to me, I deserve it, all of it. The company, the divorce. My family disowned me. I deserve every bit of suffering." "Is that what you came here to tell me?" "No, I came to tell you that I'm sorry, really, truly sorry. Not because I lost everything, not because I regret the consequences, but because I hurt you, because I was cruel to someone who only ever loved me, because I was too much of a coward to deserve you." I said nothing. "I see it now," he continued. "What I had, what I threw away, you were real, honest. You loved me despite my flaws, despite my family, despite everything, and I repaid that love with cowardice." "Are you done?" "Almost. I just need you to know. I don't want you back. I know that's impossible. I just want you to know that I see it. I see what I destroyed. And I'll regret it every single day for the rest of my life." "Good." He flinched. "That's all you have to say?" "What else is there? You want absolution. You want me to tell you it's okay, that I forgive you, that we both made mistakes. We didn't both make mistakes. Min-jae, I loved you, completely, honestly, with everything I had. You chose your mother's approval over my heart. You humiliated me. It made me feel small, made me question my worth, And now you're sad because you're facing consequences. That's not my problem. I know. Do you? Because you keep showing up, keep trying to talk to me. Like if you just explain enough, apologize enough, I'll soften. I won't. That part of me that loved you, it's dead. You killed it. And honestly, thank you for that. Because losing you taught me something valuable. It taught me never to make myself small for someone else. Never to sacrifice my worth for someone who won't fight for me. You taught me exactly what I won't accept. So thank you. Tears ran down his face. I don't want your thanks, I want. I don't care what you want. Your wants stopped mattering to me 4 years ago. Now your time is up. Please leave. Bridget. Ms. Coleman, and if you show up here again, I'll have security call the police. Are we clear? He nodded, broken, destroyed. I'm sorry. So am I. I'm sorry. I wasted 6 months of my life on someone who didn't deserve them. Now get out. He left. I watched him walk away, shoulders slumped, defeated, and I felt nothing except relief. That chapter was finally completely closed. No more surprise visits. No more attempts at contact. Just finished. I went back to my office, called Martin. Hey, he answered. Thought you were working late. I was, AM. Just needed to hear your voice. Everything okay? Min-jae showed up. Silence, then carefully, what did he want? To apologize, to explain, to make himself feel better about being a coward. How do you feel? Nothing, I feel nothing, and that's perfect. Good, you deserve peace. I'm coming over. Now, it's almost midnight. Is that okay? Of course, the door's unlocked, I'll put coffee on. I drove to Martin's apartment, let myself in. He was in the kitchen making coffee like he promised, wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt, hair messy. He looked beautiful. Hey, he said softly. I walked over to him, wrapped my arms around him, held on tight. He didn't ask questions, just held me back. Let me take what I needed. Thank you, I whispered. For what? For being patient, for being kind, for never making me feel like I owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. Being with you is a privilege, not a transaction. I pulled back, I looked at him, this good man, this patient, kind, extraordinary man who respected my boundaries, who waited when I needed waiting, who never made me feel small or wrong or damaged. I love you. The words came out before I could stop them. He smiled, genuine, warm. I love you too, have for a while now. Why didn't you say anything? Because you weren't ready to hear it, and I was okay with that. I didn't need you to say it back, didn't need you to feel pressured. I just needed you to know it's there, whenever you're ready. I kissed him, not holding back, not afraid, just open and honest and real. When we pulled apart, he touched my face gently. Stay, please, just sleep, nothing else, just let me hold you. I almost said no. Okay, but just tonight. Just tonight. We went to bed. He held me while I cried, not for Min-jae, not for what I'd lost, but for what I'd found, for this safe space, this good man, this healthy love that didn't require sacrifice. I fell asleep in his arms, peaceful, safe, home. 6 months later, Martin proposed. Not with a grand gesture, not with a fancy restaurant or a crowd of people, just us, in his apartment, after dinner, after talking about our days like we always did. I have something for you, he said. He handed me a small box. Inside was a ring, simple, elegant, a sapphire instead of a diamond. Your birthstone, he explained. I know you don't like traditional things, thought this might be more you. I stared at it. My heart was racing, but in a good way, not the panicked racing of fear, the exciting racing of joy. Martin, before you panic, let me say something. I'm not trying to rush you. I'm not trying to pressure you into anything you're not ready for. But I love you. I love who you are. I love how you've never once made yourself smaller to fit into my life. I love that you have boundaries and you enforce them. I love that you're brilliant and driven and you don't need me, but you choose me anyway. Tears were falling now, happy tears, the kind I didn't know I could still cry. I want to marry you, he continued, but only when you're ready. If that's a year from now or 5 years from now or even longer, I'm okay with it. Because having you in my life at all is a privilege. This ring is just a promise that I see you, that I choose you, that I'll wait as long as it takes. You're serious? Completely. You'd wait, even if I said I need more time. I'd wait forever if that's what you needed, because you're worth waiting for. You're worth everything. I looked at this man, this patient, kind, extraordinary man who never once asked me to be anything other than myself, who respected my boundaries, who earned my trust slowly, who proved day after day that love doesn't require sacrifice, it requires partnership. Ask me, I whispered. What? Ask me properly. He smiled, got down on one knee right there in his living room. Bridget Coleman, will you marry me? Yes, God, yes. He slipped the ring on my finger, kissed me, and I kissed him back, not with desperation or need, with joy, with certainty, with the knowledge that this was what love should feel like. Safe, respectful, real. We celebrated quietly that night, just the two of us. Champagne and takeout and plans for a future that felt possible instead of terrifying. What kind of wedding do you want? He asked. Small, intimate, just the people who matter. Sounds perfect. What else? I want my mother to walk me down the aisle. I want your parents there. I want it to be about us, not some performance for other people. Done. Anything else? I want to be married in Atlanta, where I'm from, where my mother raised me, where I learned strength. Atlanta it is. We talked for hours, about the wedding, about our future, about kids maybe, about growing old together, about building a life that belonged to us and nobody else. And for the first time in my life, I believed it was possible. Believed I could have love without sacrifice. I could have a partnership without losing myself. Could have everything I wanted without compromising who I was. The engagement party was beautiful, small like I wanted, just close friends and family. My mother flew in from Atlanta. I cried through the whole thing. Kept hugging Martin and telling him he better treat her baby right. Don't worry, Mrs. Coleman, he said with that gentle smile. She won't let me do anything else. Everyone laughed. It was true. I'd learned my lesson. I would never again make myself small for love, never again sacrifice my boundaries, never again accept less than I deserved. Martin understood that. I celebrated it, loved me more for it, not less. Near the end of the party, I stepped outside for air. The venue had a terrace overlooking Seoul. The city at night was beautiful. All those lights, all those lives, all that possibility. Congratulations. I turned slowly. Min-jae was standing there in the shadows. How he got past security, I didn't know. I didn't care. You need to leave. I know, I will. I just wanted to say it. Congratulations. He's a lucky man. I'm a lucky woman. You are. He clearly treats you the way I should have, the way you always deserved. Min-jae. I'm not here to cause problems. I just saw the announcement online. I wanted you to know. I'm genuinely happy for you. You deserve someone who chooses you every day, someone brave enough to fight for you. I looked at him. I saw the regret, the loss, the man who realized too late what he'd had, and I felt nothing. Not anger, no pity, not satisfied, just nothing. I hope you find that someday, I said. Not cruel, just honest. I hope you find someone who makes you brave enough to fight for them, who makes you want to be better. I had that. I just didn't realize it until it was gone. Then learn from it. Be better. Don't make the next woman pay for your mother's prejudices. Don't hide. Don't be a coward. Be brave enough to love someone completely. He nodded. I will, or I'll try anyway. He took a breath. Tell Martin congratulations for me and thank you. For what? For not giving up on love, for not letting what I did make you bitter, for finding someone worthy of you. Thank you for that. He walked away. This time I knew it was the last time, the final goodbye. There was nothing left between us except history, and history is just stories we tell ourselves about who we used to be. I went back inside. I found Martin talking to my mother. He saw me and smiled. That smile that said, I see you. I choose you. I'm not going anywhere. I crossed the room, took his hand. He squeezed back. Everything okay? He asked. Everything's perfect. And it was. 1 year later, Martin and I stood at our wedding. Small ceremony in Atlanta. Intimate, just the people who mattered. The venue was this beautiful garden. Southern charm mixed with modern elegance. Exactly what I wanted. I wore a dress I chose myself. Cream-colored, elegant but not traditional. My hair was natural, full, beautiful. I didn't look like anyone else's idea of a bride. I looked like me. Martin cried when I walked down the aisle. My mother walked beside me, her hand in mine, both of us crying happy tears. His parents sat in the front row beaming. My friends from college were there, his business partners, people who loved us, supported us. I wanted us to succeed. The vows were personal, not from a book, from our hearts. I promise to respect your boundaries, Martin said, his voice steady despite the tears. To honor your independence, to be your partner, not your other half, because you're not half of anything, you're whole, complete, extraordinary, and I'm just lucky enough to walk beside you. I promise to choose you every single day, to fight for us when things get hard, to celebrate when things are good, to never make you feel small or less than. You are the love of my life, and I will spend every day proving I deserve you. My turn, I took a breath. I looked at this man I was choosing, this good, patient, extraordinary man. I promise to let you love me, I said. To accept that love doesn't have to hurt, that it can be easy, natural, safe. I promise to build a life with you where we both get to be fully ourselves, where love is addition, not subtraction, where we grow together instead of shrinking apart. You taught me what real love looks like, what it should feel like, and I promise to honor that gift every single day. I choose you, today, tomorrow, always. We kissed. The room erupted in applause, and I felt it, that deep, bone-level peace that comes from knowing you made the right choice. Later at the reception, I watched my mother dance with Martin's father. I watched our friends laugh and celebrate. I watched Martin work the room with that quiet confidence I loved. Everyone was happy, genuinely happy. Nobody was performing. Nobody was pretending, just real joy. What are you thinking about? Martin asked, pulling me close for our first dance. How different this is. Different than what? Than what I thought love was. I used to think love meant sacrifice, giving up pieces of yourself, proving you were worthy, making yourself fit into spaces that weren't built for you. And now I know love is supposed to expand you, not shrink you. It's supposed to make you braver, stronger, more yourself, more of everything good and less of everything that holds you back. You taught me that too, he said softly. I used to think love meant having someone need you, but you don't need me, you choose me, and that's so much better, so much more meaningful. I do choose you, every day, every single day for the rest of my life. I know, and I choose you every single day, forever. We danced, we laughed, we celebrated, and somewhere in the back of my mind, I wondered briefly if Min-jae heard about the wedding, if he was somewhere thinking about what he lost, if he learned anything from his mistakes, if he was becoming the kind of man who could fight for someone he loved. But mostly, I didn't think about him at all. Because that's the real victory, not revenge, not making him suffer, but moving on so completely that his regret doesn't even matter anymore, that his existence doesn't affect your joy, that you've built something so beautiful that the past can't touch it. I built a life, a beautiful, full, joyful life, with a man who earned my love by respecting it, who proved every day that I was worth fighting for, who never once asked me to be anything other than exactly who I am. And I learned something important, something I wish I'd known at 26, something I hope every woman learns before they waste years on the wrong person. You don't have to sacrifice everything for love. You don't have to make yourself smaller. You don't have to prove you're worthy. The right person will see your worth without you having to diminish yourself to make them comfortable. Real love doesn't ask you to change. It celebrates who you are. Real love doesn't pressure. It waits. Real love doesn't take. It gives. And real love doesn't make you choose between yourself and happiness. It lets you have both. Min-jae taught me what love isn't. He taught me about cowardice, about how people will choose comfort over courage, about how you can give someone everything and they'll still choose the easy path, about how some people will never be brave enough to love you the way you deserve. But Martin taught me what love is, what it should be, what it can be when both people show up fully, honestly, respectfully, when both people choose each other every single day not because they need to, but because they want to. And that's the lesson I'd want anyone hearing this story to take away. Don't settle. Don't make yourself small. Don't accept love that requires you to sacrifice your dignity, your boundaries, your worth, your dreams, your identity. Wait for someone who earns you, who proves themselves through actions, not just words, who makes you feel safe, respected, celebrated, cherished. Because that person exists, and you deserve nothing less. As Martin and I left the reception, heading toward our honeymoon in the Maldives, toward our future, toward whatever came next, I felt it. That deep certainty. That absolute knowledge that I'd made the right choice. Not just in choosing Martin, but in choosing myself first. In learning my worth, in enforcing my boundaries, in refusing to settle, in walking away from someone who wouldn't fight for me, in building myself back up from nothing. Coming back is powerful. I'm never looking back. Min-jae gave up the best thing he ever had because he was too afraid to fight for it. That's his burden, his regret, his lesson to learn, his consequence to live with. Me, I learned mine, and I got my happy ending, the one I built myself, the one I deserved all along, the one I refused to compromise on, the one that was worth waiting for. And that's better than any revenge could ever be. Because the best revenge isn't destruction. It's not making someone suffer. It's not proving you were right. The best revenge is living well, building something beautiful, finding real love, becoming the best version of yourself, being so happy that the past can't touch you anymore. That's what I did. That's who I became. And if Min-jae sees this somehow, if he hears about my life, my happiness, my success, my love, good. Let him see what he lost. Let him understand what real courage looks like. Let him know that I didn't just survive losing him. I thrived. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button and leave a comment telling us what lesson you took from Bridget's journey. Should women sacrifice everything for love? Or should they set boundaries and wait for someone who respects them? We'd love to hear your thoughts. And check out our other stories about love, power, and knowing your worth. Thanks for watching, and remember, never make yourself small for someone who won't make you their priority.